Morning.
You all right? It's Friday. It's not Friday, but it will be Friday when this is out. So, we've been asked for this quite a bit, and they seem to do quite well. And now we have a resident horse expert. We thought we would walk you around and do a buyer's guide on a 458. Only because I've got one. Not I've got one.
You've got
but
one
I've
in.
got one in. Yeah. So this is Rob's car, and it's pretty. So, let me introduce you to Matt, Matthew, Turkish Matt, Ferrari Matt. What else do they call? No, we can't say what the other boys call you.
Quite a lot of names.
Yeah.
But
So he only knows two things, Ferraris and the ring.
pretty much.
So let's get through this, and we'll run you through why you should buy a 458. So, we're not negative, but for me, this is, behind the stuff that you can never afford, this is the best Ferrari ever made. The only downside, it's not a 5-valve, because it's 4-valve V8 in it. 158 engine. 158 engine? Oh, there we go.
What was it? I gave you the book,
yeah,
didn't I?
yeah, we
So,
did the other one.
yeah.
So what I'm on about is a 360s and a 430s with 5-valve engines, 3 inlet valves, and they've got a sound. They've got an old sound. But I think this is the best Ferrari ever made.
Yeah, it made a massive change when it got released to everything, or to moving forward in all of cars. So they were like the first in the game to bring out this gearbox.
This was the benchmark on it.
Yeah, 100%.
This was the benchmark. Because you had the 5.2 Lamborghini LP560, but that was an E-gear.
Yeah.
So that was like...
Yeah, if you put them alongside
clutch.
each other, it's night and day, you know?
So this is a 458 Spider, belongs to Rob, and I didn't want to give the plates away, so this week's video is sponsored by Pro Detail. If you watched Tuesday, you probably saw the number plate anyway, maybe?
No, because I had the bumper off.
Oh, you had bumper off.
Yeah.
So this is in, we've put a Klein exhaust on it for him, and a few other little bits and pieces he wanted us to do. So yeah, this is pretty. It is pretty. Red with cream interior is pretty as well, but I think stealthy black is...
Yeah, I would go for dark, personally.
Come on then. What should you watch out for if you buy a 458? Why did they call it a 458? Why do they call them numbers?
It's all to do with like engine sizes.
Is it?
Yeah, engine displacement and cylinders and all of that sort of stuff. So.
Why, is it a 4.5 litre V8?
No, it's not, is it?
No.
So it's something to do with stroke size, I believe. Don't quote me, but it's something to do with like combustion sizes. And
right,
all
you
of
talk,
that.
I'll Google.
Yes. So, but yeah, they're pretty bomb-proof, to be fair.
Video done.
Yeah, they are good. So I was at Ferrari for 10 years. We saw minimal issues with them. Gearboxes are good. We might have saw a couple here and there, but they're pretty decent. Engine-wise, again, the odd one here and there, but it's very strange to see something go wrong. The main thing with Ferrari stuff, I would say, is like electrical gremlins or interior rattles or trims, things like that. But yeah, with the 458, the car's very dependent on spec. So with Ferrari, obviously you can spec to the moon and back, depending on how much you want to pay. But there is also, on the resale side of things, for the market values when you do sell them, there is a huge difference. You're looking, I think, at the minute for the cheapest, 110. And then there's a couple at like 180.
Dearest Spider we saw, is not even getting into speciales.
Yeah. Speciales, you can chuck another 100 grand on top of it. But yeah, it's very spec dependent. So this is a pretty good spec. It's got the carbon on the front of the grills. So this is an extra option.
There we go.
You've got Scuderia shields. This was an option. Depending on wheel specs, you can obviously go for different style alloys. All of them come with carbon ceramics. They're not, again, you can change the color of your calipers. So there's a lot of modifications you can do. You can change these to titanium wheel bolts if you wanted to.
Thank you.
Interior wise is where the most is going to be. So like even to the point you can do like carbon mirrors, carbon door handles.
Apparently, the 458 is named after the number of cylinders and displacement of its engine.
Yeah, there you go.
So it has a capacity of 4.5 litres and it's 8 cylinders.
Okay.
I was right.
So it is a 4.5
And then the 488 that's the capacity of one cylinder.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, so just they come up with random stuff like the new names of them. Yeah, whatever.
I think you've got to be a car geek to tell the options on these. I think that's the hardest thing about Ferrari. Ferrari gets you with, bosh, it's a Ferrari. And then it's the subtle bits, right? Like you said, the bajillion-pound front carbon infills. Then you start getting wing mirrors, the wing badges.
Yeah. They'll be, I wouldn't surprise if they're getting close to like 10 grand for them as an option.
And then like the tricolor, if you want a free stripe on it as well. And you start getting stuff like that. So that's where I would probably say you can have a 458, but you get this a lot. We've had clients come in and they've gone, oh yeah, I've just gone and got an 812 Superfast, and they've dropped 60 grand on options.
Ooh.
Like John's FF, like just the passenger display. That was like 8 grand option, just a passenger display. So I think you've got to be a car geek to start telling the difference between a 110 grand 458 and a 180 grand 458.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you'd look at that and go, yeah, that's an option. Whereas other people would just go,
to the people with not a trained eye as such, they wouldn't know. Even like the fuel filler cap, you can get these in carbon now.
The only sort of stuff we've seen them for servicing, we do a lot of tuning and exhaust on these. The only problems I've seen is either inlet manifolds where the flap sees, leaking rocker covers, and I've done a couple of oil cooler lines that go to the left, which is a clutch oil cooler, isn't it, this one?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's clutch and that's...
One's fluid's clutch, one is, because you've got the two different fluids inside
the gearbox. Yeah. And then we've been quoted, or we've quoted a couple of times to do gearbox work on these because they come as repair packs, don't they? Like you get S1, S2, S3.
There's like 4 different stages of gearbox repair on these. So.
And then we've done I've quoted out a couple, and then that quote has been used to like beat Ferrari up, and Ferrari have sort of gone and done the work anyway. But which is good. That's how it should be. But we don't do loads. Everyone likes to stay in network with Ferraris for service work. Yeah. And especially now with the new 7-year servicing as well, aren't they? They're like, like you said, you could turn up, plug it in, it goes, oh, you just need a pollen filter. Yeah. Which is completely against everything I stand for.
So yeah, predictive servicing on the new range. But it's a way of them keeping them in dealer as well, because they don't want to lose the cars.
No.
Because you think how minimal cars they produce, they need to keep their technicians busy.
Yeah.
Like most of the time you walk in a Ferrari workshop, there's not a lot going on really.
So. And it's big overheads when you go to the Ferrari workshop.
Yeah, because you've got to have the nice glass build-in, all the lights on. So that's a nice option on these as well. Carbon on the rear grills. It's got the standard diffuser. It's off now because it's going to go on the dyno later. So they're an optional extra.
But this was one of the big things. I mean, obviously me and you had spoken for a while, but this is like your bread and butter in it. Like V10s is for me. You get into this and you're like, oh yeah, that's wrong, this wrong, that's right, this is right, that's cool. That was the whole point of bringing that
where
in.
They're getting on a little bit now, the earlier and cheaper ones are getting played with, and you can see what's been done right and what's been done wrong. A lot of random fixings are put in arches and under
Same
trays.
as what we see on Lambos and all, isn't it, really?
So if you are looking to buy one of these with this style wheel, you've got this indent here. When they've been refurbished a lot, you'll see the triangle drop right down into the rim because they're shaving material off. So just watch out. We saw a lot of them come in to the point where this is completely smooth and the spike only just starts here. So just keep an eye on them. That's one thing to watch out for. Brakes, carbon ceramics, they're always loud. We had so many customers come in, they're squeaking, they're squeaking. Yeah. It kind of is what it is. Like you have to deal with it. You can clean the pads, put new pads in it, but it's going to come back no matter what you do.
You go and do a track day, get the brakes super hot, clear the dust out, and the brakes are quiet, and then 2 days later you're like, oh, my brakes are squealing again. We had that R8 Monday in for the same thing. He's bought it, touches a brake pedal gently, and goes, eee! And I'm like, you just got to go and hammer your brakes because carbon ceramics are high disc.
But then, like, noisy brakes are good brakes.
Yeah.
Obviously, grinding's not, but if they're loud, they're good. It's kinetic energy, right?
Yeah. So it's where you swap from brakes start off as abrasive. It's called abrasive braking, and then they move into adhesive. So as you get heat, you basically stick the pad material to the disc, and then you get abrasive, so you get pad material on pad material. That's why brake discs change colour when they're hot. And then when they're cold, you're abrading that material away, so you get high dust content. and that's where your dust buildup comes from. So as you go from cold to hot, you move from abrasive to adhesive, and that's where the dust comes from.
Yeah. With these, if you're buying them, make sure the discs are nice and smooth to touch. You want them like a glass-like finish.
And track cars, there's a high risk of chipping the discs, isn't there? Same as R8s and stuff,
Same
because
thing.
the gravel goes through. You end up beaching the car, goes through the wheel, and it like marks a disc.
Yeah.
They're like $6 a disc, aren't they? Surface Transforms do kits.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, they won't be cheap.
They are
So-
ouchie, 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 ouchie.
Yeah, so that's the main thing. As long as the discs look nice and shiny. There are companies out there that reface them now. I probably wouldn't go with that route.
Stock ones are hard to do. That's
So-
why the good thing about like Surface Transforms is they say they can reface it.
Yeah.
But you've got to go out and buy new discs. You've got to go and buy a kit. So, but yeah, they seem pretty popular now. We get the same problems with bleed nipples like we do on the R8s,
Yeah.
where it sits up and it gets rained on and water sits there. It's an aluminium caliper and a steel bleed nipple, and they corrode in. So, and there's one on each side as well. So we get cars quite regularly, calipers out. We use Dan Ludlow around the corner to get all our bleed nipples out, and he's always got Ferrari calipers in it from Lovitz.
All the time, yeah.
That's pretty common. So what we would say there is if they start to get snaggy, just change bleed nipples. So like 10 quid each. Copper slip them, change them in. But that's just bimetallic corrosion. So what is the service intervals on these from the factory?
So service is every year. So it's going to be oil every year, and then depending on how far along you are, then it's going to be...
Can you remember what sort of Ferraris say? Because I kind of...
I can find the list for you. It's going to be like oil and pollen filter every year.
Yeah.
And then it'll be like, same thing, like
Brake fluid every 2 years,
brake fluid,
Yeah.
spark plugs.
Because this is a bit that winds me up, right? It's like Audi go to a customer, oh yeah, we do the spark plugs at 60,000 miles. And I'm like, yeah, but
Yeah. So
how
if
many
you look at
cars
the
do you see
Ferrari
over
schedule,
60,000
yeah,
miles?
Exactly.
You don't. So you're going to risk a £90,000 engine for a spark plug.
Yeah.
So we say, RE Performance say, oil every year, pollen filter every 2, brake fluid every 2, fuel, air filters, gearbox oil, diff oil every 4. And that's what I would probably transpose over to this.
Yeah.
If
What you can
wanted
take
us.
over to do like every 4 years,
Everything.
everything that you can do,
Yeah.
you want to do.
Yeah, yeah, and then we don't get too tied up about AO or Ferrari rated tyres or anything like that. P4S is on it.
Yeah. So it's got Pirellis on it. If you put Michelin's on it, it will transform the car.
Yeah.
Tyre size is a big thing as well.
Yeah, they're so traction control reliant, aren't they?
If you've got the wrong size tyres, it does mess around with traction control. Ferrari also with the TPMS for where the tyre pressure is, they're bolted on behind the valve. If a car has issues and you can't pick up the sensors, Ferrari like, oh, it's not got Ferrari tyres on it. It can't read the sensors through the rubber.
Right.
So then they're like, oh, you need to put Ferrari tyres on it.
Right. So basically, the batteries go flat in the sensors, and Ferrari tell you need tyres.
Yeah, I think it's like 90 months you get with a new sensor.
Right. Okay.
But they last a little while.
Yeah, same as us. When we start getting sensor problems, we just put new, because the batteries are inside the sensors.
Yeah.
And they're not serviceable. So this has been in. We've put a Klein exhaust on it with a valve controller, because they are dead stock, aren't they? They are quiet.
Yeah, they're not too loud. Once they're open up on the valves, they're all right. They're not too bad. Obviously, this is a fair bit louder now.
And there it is. Red Ferrari inlet manifold.
And then the only thing with a Spider, which is annoying for me, is you can't see the plenum.
No.
So
The prettiest thing, isn't it?
With a normal coupe, you pop the rear lid and you see all of the nice plenum. So
Yeah.
kind of shows it off a little bit more.
I don't know whether you can see the problems I've had, the ones I've seen, you said it is
it's
rare,
just
isn't
these.
it? Is the linkage down the centre. There's 3 butterflies that allow plenum 1 and plenum 2 to talk to each other or to cross over. And we've just seen them seize up. Admittedly on a coupe, and it's mainly because the water can get on a top pin, which obviously on a Spider it can't. So that might be a thing.
What power are these out of the box?
Well, we'll find out in a minute. We'll put it on dyno, run it on dyno.
Yeah, there's a good one for you.
So we'll run it on a dyno.
We can check what it is against claimed.
against what it is.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
So
On the Heartbreaker.
yeah, obviously this has got the exhaust on it now, so it might make a little bit difference.
Yeah.
So
But we'll run it up. We get a noisy.
yeah. Also another one for people if you're looking to buy one. All your fluids are on this sticker. So it'll give you a rough idea. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you
No.
quantities, but the fluids are there.
Right, checking oil level
Checking
on
oil.
a Ferrari.
Yeah, so oil, car needs to be up to temperature, left idling, so the car's running whilst you check the oil. Literally pull it out, wipe it off, dip it back in, check the oil. There you go.
Because the oil tank's in the gearbox, isn't it, on these? On top of the gearbox.
On top of the box, yeah. So
Yeah, because you get a crossover pipe from a gearbox to the engine, don't you?
yeah, you've got that link
So
tube.
it's not like a Lamborghini or an R8 where you switch it off. You have to leave it running.
Yeah.
And we get that issue, or we see that issue vice versa, don't we? I've had a Ferrari and now I'm checking my car and I've bought a Lambo and it's different.
Yeah, these
Like the process.
The car has to be running.
Yeah.
So coolant, power steering, everything else is self-explanatory, same as a normal
Engine
car.
off.
Yeah.
Coolant's when it's cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are pretty little things. Nissan Mega. Right.
So what they like to drive, Matt?
I really like them. I think they got just the right amount of power. The traction control system puts it down. The gearbox is just as quick as something like on our days now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gearbox made massive changes in the car world when this came out. Infotainment wise, for like the displays, getting a little bit old now.
But they're all old, and like
Yeah.
not ragging on this, but
I
you
think-
go and get in an LP or an R8 and it looks like an A3.
I always say this about Ferrari. Their interior and infotainment is like 10 years behind the game.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of need a little bit of a jump. And I think they've done that with the new models, and they've made it so they've jumped massively where the customers aren't liking
Yeah.
it. You're driving along and you've got 1,000 buttons on your steering wheel, and it's all hypnotic.
Yeah.
There's no buttons.
Because I think there's a
you
couple of companies now that do like Apple Play solutions for these and stuff.
Yeah,
don't they,
yeah.
to
So you
upgrade
can do an Apple upgrade for these. I believe it's like $5,000.
So the only thing I don't like on Ferraris is a centre console to the dash.
Why? Because it doesn't join.
It feels too open.
Okay.
I don't like how open. I like that enclosed feeling. Do you know what I mean? Like the difference
like a
to this.
cockpit around
Yeah,
you. Yeah, I'm with you.
So like you jump in a McLaren and where it's right up close to your hip and joins a dash. I don't
Yeah.
know. It just feels snugger. Like the Aventador inside.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You can almost rest your arm on it.
Same thing like the R8 where it loops round, the
Yeah.
dash comes round and slides down to you.
Yeah. Like when you sit in it, it's like it's huge. But where do you?
Yeah.
What do I do? Do you know what I mean? Where do I put it? Because that leg's redundant. So what? Yeah, I don't know. That's a comfort. I like feeling enclosed.
Yeah, as if you're like
You like
in a cockpit. Yeah.
Yeah. And the biggest thing that annoys me, only because I do it every time I get out one of these, is you've got to leave it in gear to get a key out.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna switch it off, and I'm like, key won't come out.
Yeah.
Then you got to start it back up, put it in gear, turn the key off, and then
Yeah.
pull the key out.
There is one way of getting around it, just that little.
There's
like-
a little release button, so
yeah.
But steering wheels are always mega on these. I
Yeah.
love buttons on wheels.
Yeah,
And
the
that-
Malentino's always cool.
oh,
Yeah,
mate,
Malentino
that
settings
is
are
just
cool.
That's the best thing about Ferrari, isn't it? Right?
So,
Is this the first one to have that switch?
no. 430, I believe, is when the EDIF gearbox came out. That was what that came in for.
So you got wet, sport, race. CT is
It was like first stage traction and then completely off.
Everything off.
Yeah.
But you got to press and hold that.
Yeah.
Dash goes, oh, don't die.
Yeah.
Engine start, sport button, damper button.
Yeah.
Then you've obviously got
Bumpy road button.
flashes, wipers, indicators, horn, and then rev lights. And then the center console, then you've obviously got launch control, reverse, auto mode, because that's how you go between auto and manual on a gear stick, hazards, windows, roof control, rear window. Then you've got
Lift.
an open
And
is
glove box.
Glove box. And then like Matt was saying, you got frunk button then, and then your fuel button. So you just got to be careful because they can take a bit of a pounding with your feet.
Yeah, it's a nice spec one though. It's got a
lovely,
full carbon center console, which is all of this. They standard ones are like a grey plastic. This is nice. Carbon on the dash. Full carbon steering wheel. These don't come carbon as standard. This is an option.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got JBL. That's a nice one as well. So it's got the upgraded sound system in it. It's got the chrono, I think is how they say it, chronophomic mirror package. So like if you're on the motorway and the car shines its headlights at you, it's got a light sensor and it dims the mirrors, so this will go like darker, same as the side mirrors.
Cool.
Which is nice. It's got comfort seats. For me, I find you lose a bit of, because I'm a bigger lad, it gets a bit tight. The race seats for me would be my preferred option, but that's just me. There's personal preference.
Taste.
Yeah. I do believe the cars with the race seats do go for a premium.
Yep.
We've got a customer bringing his one in next week for his. He's changing from standards, and we're putting race seats in. Well, the buckets, as we say. So,
these are nice looking seats.
Yeah, they're comfy. They're nice. Just got to watch for wear on the bolsters, especially on the edges.
Yeah.
With the cream interior, they suffer really bad. Black's quite good because it hides a lot of things.
Yeah.
Ferrari's leather is nice, but it does show its wear very quick.
Yeah.
Especially on like the dashboards. In dealer we used to see loads of them where the leather starts to peel off. That's very common, or you start to see it like stretching where it's been in the sun.
Okay, yeah.
That's just something to keep an eye out on. And also, there's a fair few recalls on these now. There's an airbag recall, so just obviously make sure it's been done, of course. But if you're going to buy one, just make sure like everything lines up nice. There's no horrible rattles.
Happy days.
And then your battery's down there, behind that kick plate.
Hence why that's plugged in for the
for the maintainer.
Yeah.
There should be a genuine Ferrari maintainer just there.
Okay, yeah.
So the genuine Ferrari maintainer plugs into there.
Yeah.
If the car's plugged in on the maintainer, you cannot start the vehicle.
Right, okay.
So we've had customers, the car won't start. Maintainer's plugged in, it won't allow you to start the car. The maintainer has to be removed before the vehicle will start. So that's something to keep an eye on. On the new models, there's like a magnetic bit under the rear bumper where it just clips onto it. That's quite a nice addition they've put on for those. This customer's added Garmin because he's put a reverse camera on there.
Right.
Same thing, it all comes down to spec.
Yeah.
So this didn't have a reverse camera, he's put one on there aftermarket. So same thing, if you want a reverse camera, you pay extra.
So were there any particular issues with the earlier models of these?
So when they first came out, there was the big, they're setting on fire.
Yeah.
And that was because Ferrari said it was something to do with like the rear wheel arches, the glue melted, and it was something like that. And then another person said it was like the evap system for fuel control. But that's all been sorted. There's a couple cases of that, and they've been mint so far.
Yeah.
Common issues, barely any, to be honest.
Like you say,
as long as they've been maintained,
yeah,
you've got yourself a good car. Gearboxes are very strong on them. Only ever saw a couple failures, and like I was there 10 years, so that's a testament to them. Engines bomb-proof again. These are very good. Like, say if this was a 488, it'd be a different story. There's a lot of common issues with those.
Right, okay. Well, that's one to talk about for another video, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think they mastered it with a 458.
This was the sweet spot.
This was a sweet spot. They got the noise right, and also that rear lid, how you can drop it there so you get the extra noise. So you can go just glass down.
Yep.
Which is lovely because it could be like today, quite a cold day, and you've still got that noise from the rear window.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have the roof down to experience the noise all the time.
Cool.
Should we drop the roof down off of it?
Yeah.
It as a different view. Yeah. I think it changes the aesthetics of the car quite nicely. It makes the car look a complete different shape. So we just let it go down. And then obviously a nice hot summer's day, then you can enjoy the noise. So that's your big go-to for a Spider.
Yeah.
Like, I was lucky enough, I went to a customer's house in Cyprus like 2 weeks ago to service his R8. And living here, I wouldn't have a Spider.
Yeah.
But if I was somewhere in Europe that was nice and hot, 100%, I can completely see why. I service his car straight away, roof down into Marbella.
Yeah.
And yeah, I completely get it. So
I mean, it transforms the look of the car as well, doesn't
completely
it?
different. Yeah. So yeah, very good looking car.
Any issues or things with the roof mechanism you've come across?
Sometimes if the hydraulic pipes have been routed wrong, they pinch and you can split, but
Yep.
that will be a factory thing as such where it's not been routed right.
Yep.
So all of the issues around them will be gone by now. I think if you're buying one at this sort of age, any big issues would have already been addressed. So you've not got anything scary to worry about there. It's just maintenance really. Just keep an eye on them, keep an eye on how it's been driven. You can beat on these, like Ferrari do encourage you to use them on track.
Yeah.
They're very capable cars.
And
Yeah,
these are made, what did we say, 20?
From 2009 to 2015. I would obviously, it's like with every model, I would try to go for as latest car as possible.
Yeah.
Even though they physically look the same, there'll be like software variations that have been changed. There'll be like other bits and pieces, motors that would have been changed throughout the time. Just little upgrades that you don't really know, but they're there.
Yeah.
So the infotainment never changed. That's the only thing for me now. But it's like a car, older car, you buy something and the screens are always old.
Of course.
That's I think like it's Koenigsegg or Bugatti, one of them say they don't put screens in their cars because that's the quickest way to age a car.
It's a good point, that, actually. Yeah. Happy days. And what variety of colours did these come in?
You could do whatever you want.
Huge amount, yeah?
Literally, you can do anything you like.
Yeah.
You've got your standard black, you've got your red, which is probably the most popular.
Yeah.
But then you've got
I've seen yellow
loads
ones
of
of these and all
different
sorts.
reds and
yeah.
loads of different yellows.
Yeah.
The same thing. All depends on how much you want to spend
Yeah.
specking them. You could generally go crazy with them.
Yeah.
You can spend like 30 grand on paint if you want to.
Wow.
So if not more. So we've had a few come in. I think it was like a 3-stage yellow. That was a really nice colour. That really nice colour. But yeah, black. I would probably go with a black one. I like a black car.
I'm with you on black, definitely.
When it's nice and clean, shiny in the summer.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So what about aftermarket options, one of these, exhaust and things like that?
Yeah, so there's obviously, for the aftermarket exhaust, you've got a few different brands. There's loads out there. It'd just be a case of you Googling it, finding what one you like, go from there sort of thing. Because all of them, depending on how they route the pipe ins, it can change the exhaust note.
Yep.
So I think that's more of a customer thing. They need to find that for themselves.
Yep.
Yeah, just because there's so many variants now, it's personal taste. And also how loud you want to go. If you want to do manifolds as well, you can do the whole system, or you could just do the back box.
And I guess that all depends on whether you want to do track days in the UK and things like that.
Yeah,
as well.
100%. Yeah.
What about other tuning options on these? Do people lower them? Is there any engine work that can be done?
They're on coilovers as a standard.
Okay.
So you could technically lower the original shock.
Okay. That's interesting.
If you wanted to, you could.
Yeah.
It's just like a standard coil with your rings and your thread. So you, in theory, you could drop it down if you wanted to on a standard. KW do kits for these. We've seen a few cars, not 458s, but like John's FF is on KWs.
Yeah.
So you've got that.
Seen MoTeC kit for these as well.
Yeah. So yeah, you can go MoTeC. You've got all the carbon kits. The thing is now, what are they, like 10 years old?
Yeah.
There's so many options out there that because everyone's played with them now. So, which is good for us as well, because now they're starting to not drop off in value, but they're starting to get away from dealer.
Yeah.
People are happy to play with them. The Ferrari culture is very strange. Not many people like to modify them.
Yeah.
But I think once they start to drop off, that they're at a dealer, dealers don't really want to get involved with them because unfortunately dealers want to do the warranty work. They want to in and out and quick jobs.
Of course.
So
that's your reason to come here.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And the thing is, there's a good knowledge. I've also got a good relationship with the boys down the road, so it's always handy to have, you know.
Sure. Yeah. So you'd have one of these?
Yeah, 100%. I would personally go for a coupe.
Yep.
That would be my personal preference. I'd go for a black coupe with black racing seats.
Yep.
And then all the carbon, because carbon, you know, looks good. So
there we go.
Yeah, they are mega. And the thing is, they're so reliable as well. I think that's the big thing for them, the reliability. Ferrari, actually, for a change, they got it right with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, with the other models, there are lots of issues.
Yeah.
So, but with these, I think bang for buck as well, you're getting a good car. And I don't think you're going to make any money, and I don't think you're going to lose any money.
So it's a good safe bet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll come to the other newer models and talk about the issues of those in future videos.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a customer with, well, we got a couple customers with 488s, and I think they're very happy for us to do videos on those. So we can come across that when they come in if they're happy for us to do that. Yeah, so just another one to watch out for. There's on these tail lights. A lot of people like lean on them, and they're only on like 310 mils, so they snap off. Especially on like the 430s, on the earlier ones, you wobble them and they wobble so much. This is all good though, so yeah, just keep an eye on these.
Dabla.
So here we are back in the Dyno of Dreams.
The Dyno of Dreams.
And it's still freezing.
It's still freezing, even after that pull. Shows how good my dyno is at moving air. So, what do we do? 523 of your horsing powers.
What are they stock?
I will tell you now. So it should be 560 horsepower and about 530 newton meters of torque. So it's normalizing the power down because of the temperature.
Yep.
But it did 530 and 400 newton meters of torque. But she sounds like a beep beep.
It screams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all good, that. I think I'll plug in and tickle the old numbers inside the box of goodies.
Yep.
But yeah, they do sound good. Did you get a pull? You got the pull?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are mega. She looks cool. It is cold in the dyno with the roof down. However baller that might look, my nunions are frozen.
Freezing.
So here's a question then. If 120 bags gets you a reasonable 458,
yeah,
would you have a 458, an LP 610 Hurricane?
Yeah.
120 grand is probably going to get you in a ropey 600 LT or bottom market 600 LT.
Yep.
What else? That's about the top three, innit? Or an R8 V10 Plus.
Yep.
2018, because you wouldn't go later because of the OPFs.
You're going to chuck
with 40 grand cash in your Skyrocket.
A 992. Would you get a
992 turbo, maybe? Yeah.
They've been out for a little while, haven't they?
Yeah. What would you have?
Out of all of those?
Yeah.
You see, I would never have had the Ferrari on the list at all. But now we've spoken to Matt about it.
I'm not saying you're going to get a Minter.
Yeah.
But what would you have? I'm not going to answer that.
Let us know in the comments.
So here's your comments. Here's the question. Not necessarily a Spider, because the Spiders demand more money. So 458 Italia, so coupe.
Yep.
LP 610 Hurricane.
Coupe.
Yeah, coupe.
Yep.
600 LT. I think you would get in an LT for that. So we'll say LT. We won't say a 720. We'll say LT.
Yep.
Turbo S.
Yep.
Or R8 V10 Plus and money in your Skyrocket. What would you have? Put it in the comments. And then maybe next week we'll say what I'll have.
Yes. That sounds a little bit...
Can't make my mind up. They're beautiful.
Yep.
But the thing that always bothers me about Ferraris is wheels and wheel arch gap.
Hey, and there we go.
And I don't mean it as in I don't like the wheels.
Yep.
But it doesn't look, they don't pack the arches. Do you know what I mean?
100%. I've always thought that. Yeah.
But this is the supercar brand. There is no other.
No.
This is it. This is the pinnacle.
Yep.
This is the, what was her name? Debbie, as she did Dallas of porn stars. Would you say that? See, I wouldn't go there. I would go, my go-to porn star would be Lisa Ann. Whereas I think you're more of an Angela White kind of guy, aren't you?
I have no comment to make on this whatsoever.
I like the sophistication of an office-looking lady, whereas you just like the absolute carnage that Angela would bring to the table. You're the 600 LT guy, aren't you?
I'm still saying
you're going to go with it breaking down on fire, but you're having a laugh.
Yeah. I'm going to go out in a whole ball of flames.
Yeah.
Fun. Yeah, I'm impressed with this.
But, the Turbo S and the 600 LT, the noise they make sucks ass. Yep. Naturally aspirated rule.
Yep.
Naturally aspirated rule.
Yep.
Whether you pick a five valve, if you're going V8, a 5-valve V8, a 430 V8. Do you know what, right? We should hunt that out as well and drop that in. Do you remember when we had that 430 on the dyno?
I've got that somewhere.
And I did Capristos on it.
Yeah.
A 5-valve V8 is just, whoa.
Yeah.
A Ventador.
Yep.
And then one of those out the back.
And again,
like my Lambo. I never run my Lambo on a dyno.
Ever?
No, we never did.
Wow.
Did I even run my V10 on the dyno? My R8?
Oh, I think so.
I can't remember whether I did.
Missed opportunities.
Missed opportunities, mate.
Or just...
What else are you going to do when you own a supercar and a dyno? Looks baller with a roof down.
It does look good, doesn't it? Yeah.
Baller with a roof down.
Not so good today when it's about 4 degrees.
No, but I think this is going to absolutely sound like the most obvious and stupid thing I've ever said. But spiders look better with a roof down. R8, but I get it. That's what they were designed for. They were designed so the roof was down. But you've got that F1 style pod behind the driver and the passenger. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this looks good.
But I think I'm more of a coupe guy.
Yep, me too.
Because there's more chance of me being upside down on the outside of the curb, on the outside of a corner.
Yeah.
And I would just like that safety.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So there we go.
I know.
If you're thinking about getting one of these,
get one.
Yeah.
Sell your diesel. Sell the kids. They can pay for the insurance. Get good money for kids on the black market these days, wouldn't you? Yeah.
And then bring it here.
So, this colour or Ferrari red?
Yeah, you see, I think the red's a bit too obvious.
I do. I really like the burnt red they do, like John's FF. Go back to John's FF.
Yeah.
That deeper, darker red. I do like that. I think if you're going red, you need the tan interior with red stitching.
But having spoken to Matt about that, that's the one that shows the wear.
Yeah. Whereas black on black on black is cool.
So he said there's a 488 coming in for seats.
Yeah. No, that's 458 as well.
That's a 458, right?
Yeah, that's a red one now. And we've done. What did we do on that? I think we did Capristos on that as well.
So if we can maybe follow that then, that's going to show the seat upgrade.
Yeah, that's not bad. We can show. Yeah, what has he got? 458 seat speciality seats. I think we got to put in that. Yeah. So yeah. So let us know which ones you'd have. Thank you very much for Rob for the lend of his car. well, I've worked on it, but letting us do this.
Yep.
So yeah, he came on our track days last year and we were chatting about exhaust and stuff, and here it is. So yeah, it's very kind of him to trust us with it. And it's, yeah.
It's a beaut.
It is. Just the subtleties of it, I think. When you sit there and you go, yellow calipers, and then you notice all the stitchings on the dash is yellow. So hopefully that sounds pretty baller, Dabbler.
I think so. I shall check it first.
I will plug it in and see how many ponies we can let out of this table.
Nice.
And then we can put flat floor back on it.
Right.
Done? Any other business?
No.
Can I toodaloo?
Indeed.
Because I'm cold now.
Let's come back next week.
Come back next week. If I don't see it for a week, let's see it for a window. Woo!